Good morning and sliding in the afternoon. Judy Allen here with Adventurous Stamping on Keep It Simple or Step It Up. So you always get to decide, right? So today we are going to make a candy treat holder, all right? It can easily be a card. We can easily stick a note in it. So for me, it's all about also sticking a note in here. So let's go down the hands. Let me show you what we got going because it's pretty simple. And, we've got the June Adventure Club going out tomorrow. So it's featuring this stamp and die set. So we're going to start off with a 6 3/4 by 4 1/4 cardstock, right? And I have gone ahead, and let me see if you can see where I've scored it. You can see some score lines. All right, on the 6, this is 6 3/4 this way. And I actually scored it on the 2-inch line right here. I'm going to fold it here so you can see it. This is going to form our pocket, okay? And this is why it's called a candy pocket holder. And again, when I get through folding this will be 4 3/4 inch tall, all right? Now, I'm not finished because I scored this also on 3/8 inch on each side. And this is just a cool way to make a pocket where you can actually stick something in it versus tape, and you're taping that particular side down, and I'm going to show you how this goes. So we're actually going to take our scissors and we're going to cut this extra off right here. This extra 3/8 inch. And I got my scissors real handy here. And then we will sit up there and just notch it down there at the bottom, okay? Just the part that's going to fold in. So I'm just coming down here, and I'm just going to cut along my score line. You could use your paper trimmer, right? But I didn't. I just want to show you they could just as easily do this too if you're not comfortable with that. And here's what I'll show you what I'm talking about. So as we go and make this candy pocket, see how this is going to fold in just like this, and then we're going to fold it up. That's how we're going to make our pocket. So just like we do when we make boxes, bags, or whatever, when we trim the edges, just a diagonal a little bit, it just helps it to fold down easier and stay down. We're going to actually use some tearing tape to get this to go down. But it's just going to make a nice little pocket here so that you don't have to worry if you put too much of anything on the tabs. It's going to be just fine. I even borrowed some candy from one of my special peeps. They don't know it yet. And I'm going to use it to show you how the candy's going to fit in here. Alright, so see how when I get through, I'm cutting that off. This is what I'm going to end up with. So this is actually, like I said, this is a total of 6 3/4 inch long. Take 2 inches off. That's going to bring it down to 4 3/4. So before we even do anything with this, I've already pre-cut some paper. This right here, this DSP is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, and we're just going to put it right here, okay? And I'm just going to use my regular tape for this because, right, it's not going to bother anything. It would look just as pretty if you chose to do it like this here, right? But I didn't want so much blue because we're going to have a lot of blue here with this Night of Navy. Just use that across my hand. Usually, I did not work today. Usually that works 99.9% of the time, and I guess today it's not that. There we go. I say today was like, So today, I don't know about you, but we got rain in the forecast, and we're actually looking forward to it because we're in drought restrictions as usual. And we make sure your planes, when you go and put this up here, I use the planes. Just want to center it, just like we would do a regular card, right? And like I said, you could easily put a note in here as well too. I'm going to go ahead, so it's going to fold up like this. So I'm going to go ahead and take my other piece I have here. And this is 1 3/4 by 3 1/4. And we're just, looks like I did it just a little bit too long. Okay, so we're going to trim that down just a little bit, okay? So I am just going to use my scissors. And let's see if we can eyeball it right here. I'm going to come right about there. Alright. I'm just use my scissors. I could have got my paper trimmer out, right? But it was just as easy for me to use my scissors. And we'll see how that looks. Looks like I might need to nip that a little bit there. We'll see in a minute as we go put down the blue. Alright, so see how it matches really nicely? Okay. So we're just going to go ahead. Or, this green side is just as pretty, right? But I tell you what's inspired me partially is we got 4th of July coming up, right? So, if you've been following my page on Adventurous Stamping. I have actually posted where I've made a birdhouse as well as some cards at the senior home yesterday. And I'll make some more as well too. And then we're just going to tuck this here. Alright, and you're going to see how this works. Now, I'm actually going to use glue to tuck this because I want it to stay a little bit, right? I want it to stay a little bit, hold my candy there. Let me grab my glue. So we want it to hold the candy there. Ah, it sort of went sideways there. Right? So you just want to make sure it holds, right? So when we go to give this to somebody, whether you hand deliver it or if you decide to make a note card out of it, right? We just want it to all hold together. Now see, by making this pocket like this, I can actually stick something in here for the full amount versus my adhesive taking up some of the space, right? So sometimes when we sit there and make pockets in gift card holders, we don't have that. So the space that we have right here that we just glued down is space that we don't use, right? Because the part that's glued down. But in this particular case, because I did it like this, you're going to see how this is going to work. All right, so we're not finished. I also have our Night of Navy Stampin' Blends, and I got a Stampin' Right because they don't have a real red that I saw when I was looking for it. We also have a tag here that we're going to do something with. And I have already stamped, this is the medium size stamp of an airplane in a kit. And then here is, I'll show you, this is a 1/2 inch by, I think it's 1 inch. Yeah, 1 inch. And I folded it in half and scored it. And this piece here is DSP, and it is 2 inches by 2.5. So this piece is 2 by 2.5 inches. This is 1 inch by 1/2 inch. And what I did is just took a regular hole punch or old school hole punch like this, and I punched a hole through all of these. So we're just going to take some glue. Right? This is special. This is somebody special you can give it to, so you want to make sure everything starts spritzy, right? Make it look cute and nice. So if you want to know about the Venture Club, we do it every month. And when you have done 6 consecutive months and you join the club, then you get a gift from me of $25 of your choosing in product, right? So that's one of the things. The other thing is we get together. We get together once a month. So we have 2 times. We have 10 o'clock in the morning, usually last Thursday of the month, or we have it in the evening time at 7. So I'm going to let that dry a second. I've already stamped, and this is just going to be design, right? This is going to be design. So if you want to trim off the edges, I didn't. I just did mine like this because I'm going to color my plane. So I'm going to stick my red and white and blue theme here. And I'm actually going to sit there and do my plain wheels. I'm going to do the plane itself in red. There we go. We're going to see which tip I have. I think that's going to be too big. We'll try it. So yes, I made several of these with the folks in the senior home. I stamped them on a card for them, making a card, right? And I'm just going to come down here and leave the tail there white. I'm going to try to see if I can leave a few things white, right? And actually what I did on their planes, I just left half the plane white is what I did. So let's go ahead and do that. They all wanted to know how they can get the white in. I said, well, you don't have to worry about coloring the white, right? If you just leave what you've already inked in white, it's already colored. So you don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to leave half the plane in white. Like that. And if you don't think it's quite half, then just keep on going. Keep on going. There you go. Alright. So I'm just going to do that here. And you can just fill it in. The other tip is finer tipped, right? So if you want to do it differently, you can do that as well too. So for the moment, I'm going to leave it there. Let's go with the blue. So this is actually light. Night of Navy. Let's see how light this is going to look. I'm trying to see what I look like. We'll know in a second here, right? So I'm just going to come across the top of the plane here. So it's darker. If you want a darker color, we have the darker. But this is this. I'm using this here. If you want to touch it up, you can. Like I said, I'm using the broader tip. But you can just as easily turn around and use the other side as well too. And I'm going to show you that as I do the smaller piece here. I'm going to do the other part down there too as well. But Like for example, I sat there and did this at the senior home for theirs. We actually just used a little bit of blue like this here. And then made the tip of the plane red. But you can do it any way you want, right? Like I told them, it's their artwork, they do what they wanted to. So they actually colored, someone colored green clouds. I was trying to think what else someone did. Someone else colored the sky in between blue. They just did blue around everything. Right? So it depends sometimes when people are older, what's their favorite color? What's your favorite color? So here I just come and touch up the lines with this other tip here. So that's why I don't even worry about it when I've got a lot of space to cover in. I use the broader side, and when I come down the shorter side, I need just to fill in a blank or touch something, I can do this here. I can easily write with this. I've done that before. Just like you can write with the other writes. The only thing, this one you can't use on rubber stamps to color the rubber stamp and stamp it, whereas you can with the Stampin' Writes. So that's one of the key differences. Use them. Okay, so I've got it going there. Let me get the bottom part blue. Let's see who we got going today. Hello, Linda. We need to get together, girl. Before you go out of town again or I go out of town again, right? It's like, oh my word. So I'm just going to color in the blue here. And they'll come around the front of the plane there, and I'll do that in red. So it's just fun, right? So it's that time of year where we got a holiday of 4th of July. And actually for some federal employees and all, today is Juneteenth, and they are off of work. So I did this here. Let me go ahead and do the tip here in red. And we have got our red, white, and blue going here. And you know what? If you don't like it, the thing is, you can just do it differently or color it differently, right? So I'm just going to leave it red, white, and blue for the moment and see how we like it. Let's go through this here. So we're going to put this here, and this is actually, this plane is actually going to be lifted up right here. So if you don't like it and you think it's too much, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and color it red, and I'll tell you why. Because as I'm looking at this, I've got this white behind me, right? So it can be my white. So I'm going to go ahead and just color this red. You could do this, you know, you don't have to do this. I've done this with pencils. I can't get it this dark with pencils, but I can get it dark, right? And let's see what else. You can also use the pastels, chalks, which will be the same thing as if you used, you're taking your ink and putting on a block. Let's see if I got that. And sit there and taking it off and do it. But it's going to be a little bit different color, right? You're not going to get this dark over red. So this is like really a dark red. Alright, so this is going to go right on here. So it's got plenty of white, so I'm not worried about that, okay? The thing is, though, is we're going to stamp some clouds on here, and we're going to stamp our sentiment. So our sentiment is going to go in the right-hand corner, and it says, flying by to say hi. And then we're just going to stamp some clouds in the background. So that's one thing about using this light gray, or even if you use white or just a gray or whatever. If it's light enough, then you can come and stamp on it without having to do a totally different tag, right? And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to stamp a couple of clouds. Let's see here. I need something to stamp off on. I'm looking to see what I have. Usually I have a Post-it note, but I have a piece of paper here. Because I'm not going to do it right here, so I'm just going to take part of the cloud right here, right? Okay, now I'm going to take another part of the cloud here, and I'm just going to do it like this here. Oops, sorry, scared myself. Alright, so therefore I got clouds on here too. So it looks like it's part of the paper, but it's not. We just sat there and stamped on our DSP. Alright, so we're going to put this up here, and I've got some ribbon that we can put behind here as well too. So I brought two colors. This one I thought looked pretty close. This is actually Moody Mauve is one choice. And I brought this one too because I thought it would go well as well. It's just a lot of blue. So the thing is, it doesn't bother me if I've got a lot of blue because blue's my favorite color. But if I did the Moody Mauve, it at least Looks similar to the planes up here. That's most probably more of a Cajun craze. That's what that is. Let me cover this off. Alright, so I'm just going to put this aside because the focus is going to be on the plane, right, in the sentiment. So we're just going to sit there and set this where it can go across like this and come back across. Right about like that. Okay? So we'll do the same thing. Let's sit down here and then we'll just put it up with some dimensionals or glue dots, really. Okay, so yes, like I said, we have the Adventure Club that's going out tomorrow in the mail. And then we can get, the locals can pick up Friday if they want to. And then so next week, so normally next week would be the week that we would sit up there and get together. But it is my 25th anniversary week. And all of my kids are coming to town to celebrate with us for our 25th wedding anniversary. So we're actually going to sit there and get together and create the following week. Which is, I don't have my calendar handy, but we're going to be doing it the following week instead. So, if you're interested, I have one kit left, just one. So if you're interested, now is the time to say, I'm interested, because I only have one kit left. So, everything's going to be mailed out. And the Adventure Club is more than just cards and a kit, right? It's 5 projects. There's usually always one 3D project in there, as well as project cards that involve fun folds and other folds as well too. And then there's special gifts in there. That's what's always fun. I always enjoy putting gifts together. Alright, so I'm just going to put this right up here and I'm going to put it up with dimensionals. Now we are going to use the twine here. I'm going to get my twine. And we're just going to take it and make some knots. It just gives it a nice, cool, different look. And I'm just going to put this up with dimensionals because that gives me flexibility of different kinds here. So when I go to do this, I want to make sure it's down here on the bottom. So I'm going to put one here. And then I'm going to put another one down here. And we'll just take this off. Alright, because you want it all to stay down here on the bottom part because it allows me flexibility to do whatever I want to do. Alright? So we're going to put our plane here, it'll be right here. And we're going to put that on there too in just a second. Let's get this thread going. Alright, so we just want enough thread that we can take it and make some knots. So let's see here. I'm going to start off, because I can always trim off the extra, right? So I'm going to at least start with 14 inches. So that was 13, 14 inches. I think that'll be plenty for us. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, see, at least I'm going to take it like this here. And I'm just going to feed it through right here, okay? So that we have it. Okay. And then from here, I'm just going to start tying some knots, all right? So first one here, I'm just going to tie a knot down here at the end. And as we get closer to the bottom, I'm going to tie a knot down there, okay? So let's just tie it here. So yeah, it's got the whole double loop effect, right? So I'm going to try to get it as close as I can to the end because it allows me to do more knots, okay? So I'll just keep on doing it then. I'll just keep on rotating it through and tying some knots. Now, is these going to be perfectly matched up how far they are apart? No. Am I worried about it? No. Right? Because we're just creating. We're creating just to make something fun to give to someone. Right? So we're not going to stress over it. Right? Because the person we give it to, like I told the people at the senior home yesterday, people are going to be so glad you made them something, right? That you actually thought of them and made them something. I don't care if it's for their birthday. I don't care if it's for anything special at all, right? All it cares about is that we sat there and made it for them. So now I'm going to go ahead and come through here. And I'm going to make another knot. Let's see here. I'll go over this way. Just going to do another thing here so I can make a knot. And again, I'm just going to get it as close as I can. So that gives me room to make another knot, right? And normally I would do left over right and right over left to make a square knot. I did not pay attention to that. I'm just going to make a knot. So I can trim it off if I want to. I don't know, it just is the whole nautical thing, right? Airplanes. You have to tie knots for something, right? Okay, so I got this right here, and if you want to come back through and tie another knot through here, we could do that as well, right? Because it's yours, you can do whatever you want. So I'm just going to go through here and do the same thing. It'll just look like I had a fun day creating knots, right? So that's all I'm doing. It's just making knots. And I'm just going to feed this through one more time. So I have my loop here that I fed the two threads, linen thread through. And then I'm just going to take it here and I'm going to feed it through again to make one last knot. Now, as you can see, it's getting short, right? So if that's not enough for you, then you might want to do more than 14 inches. I know I have a friend that she always says her fingers are fat. All right, then you might want to do 16 inches, okay? So I just did this here, and I'm just going to trim it off. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to put the candy in here on, okay? So just come a little loop here, and it just gets a little extra something, right? So I've got my candy here. Now, yes, I took this from someone. This may be too tall, but that was the candy bar I had handy. So you want to do a shorter one. I can tell you how tall this candy bar is, because actually this would have been perfect. I accidentally broke their candy bar. So this candy bar is actually about 5 3/4 inch long. And see our height here, there's 4 3/4. So you're going to want to, I do know they make these smaller, but you know, when you got special peeps visiting you, do what they want. But what I like here, I can sit there and put a gift card in as well as some candy, right? The other thing that I like too about this is that I can just as easily, let's see if I cut this down. I can easily cut this down to, what did I say this was? This is 3.5. So if you want to stick something in here, you're going to have to size this down to about 3 1/4 is what you're really going to want. All right, and this is about the height of what we have already. So we still want this a little bit shorter, okay? Because if you go and sit this in here right now, it's going to be taller than this, right? So at least we most likely want to cut down at least, I would start with 1/4 inch. And that way, if you still want it shorter, it's easier just to take it down another 1/4 inch. So whenever I'm doing something like this, and I think I've got it right, or I'm close, especially when I'm not doing normal stuff. Let's see if we can do it now. Let's see now. Oh, you want to get it right there in that slot that we created right there. I don't know if you can see that we created a slot. Now see how that works just then. So if you want it smaller, then let's go with that. Let's go. I'm going to go 1/2 inch smaller. Okay, just so you can see the difference. That's what I like about these things, that you can put candy and treats in and so forth and all, is the fact that you can sit up there and add notes to it as well. See how this easily would be to slide in a note. Now if I slid in this note and gave it to you, I would definitely stamp an airplane on here. And we're going to do that. See how the slides in there? And you still have your candy. You still have your card, right? And you still can put your candy in here. Just by doing what we did, it allows us the extra flexibility here to put additional stuff in here. But just because we added that, what was it, like a 3/8 or a 1/4 inch that we added right there to make some tabs. So let's get our airplane on here. And then I'll show you how we're going to do the stamping of an airplane on the inside of that. And we are done. So we're going to actually put this up with dimensionals, because we want to give it some height here, right? Went out the effort of doing this, so we want to make sure to give it some height. And again, you're going to want to make sure that everything's going to be on the tag, right? But this is just a cute and simple way to hand somebody a little gift to make their day. All right, so there we go. Okay, so if you're going to stamp the white piece like I just had, then this is what you're going to do. We're going to sit there. I did Night of Navy, so let's continue on with Night of Navy. And what you're going to do is a stamp off. right? Because that's what's going to give it the lighter look. So I'm looking right now, so what mischief I can get into. Rubbing something else to do you the white here. And I am definitely looking. I just got blue ink all over my hand. I did that the other day too. Okay. Alright, let me just grab this here. Alright, so we're going to just sit up here and stamp this in here. Just so you want to make sure how light you want it, right? So that is stamp 1. That is stamp 2. And this is stamp 3. Okay, so I would go with 3, right? Because we're going to write over the card. So let's do that again. 1, 2, and 3. And you just got a very light, faint image, but it allows you to write on this card as much as you want. It just makes it fun to have that extra little airplane right there. So, and when you go and put it in here, you'll be able to see it. Again, it's just light, so when they pull it out, you can write whatever message you want right over it, and it just has that right in the center. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. It's just very simple to make. If you want it taller, then you need to make it taller, right? So if you wanted this to be, because this one here is really, technically it's 5 3/4, then I would make sure to, when you do your paper, let's make sure it's at least 5 3/4 tall and a little bit taller, right? So you really want about 6 inches tall for this particular candy bar, and it'll fit perfectly, right? You just had to add some length. So in this particular case, since we want it to be, what did I say, 6 and, so this isn't going to go in an envelope, right? Unless you get a special size envelope. So I would go with 6 inches, and this bottom part is 2. So you would need, for this particular candy bar, for this to be 8 inches by 4 1/4. All right? So it's just math. You just adjust it based on the height of whatever candy bar you're going to use. All right? So I hope you enjoyed that. It's just that simple and easy to make. And there's no reason why you can't go out there and make something for someone, right? And actually, in this particular case, give them a candy bar. I got to scratch my eye. And yes, I got ink all over my hand. But I don't want it in my eye, right? So it's just simple to go out there, create, share, and give, right? And that's what it's all about. So this will be posted here, as well as it'll be posted on our YouTube channel. And we'll post a picture of it out there on Instagram, too. And if you're interested in the one last kit we have for the June Adventure Club, just message me at judy@adventurestampin.com, and we'll get that squared away. All right, be blessed. Have a very wonderful weekend, and I look forward to next week where I'll post something for you for Adventure Stamping on Keep It Simple or Step It Up. Bye.